The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Hey, yo, Trevor, does your one-year-old son know how to play goalie? Because the Canucks may need a goalie on the cheap, and I'm worried, man. I'm panicking. Does your son know how to play net? Okay, Trevor?
Oh, he's a big boy for a 1-year-old. Let's go. He's got this.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I don't know how it happened, man. A big boy came from a scrawny little like me. But anyways, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks Raider currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's bonus episode of Locked On Canucks, we got to thank you for tuning in. You know why? Because it is your Canucks almost every damn day, even in the dead of summer, baby. Although things have been happening of late, and we got to let you know that we're part of that Locked On Podcast Network. If you haven't done so already for our show, make sure you go subscribe, like, follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, Kyle, this has been quite the week in the hockey world, okay? We'll talk about it a little bit later. The Oilers do not match either offer sheet for Holloway or Broberg. The Canucks actually screw the Oilers out of one of those guys by trading Podkolzin. Also, Patrick Laine goes to the Montreal Canadiens. But more importantly, here in Vancouver, we get an update this morning that Thatcher Demko, who was reportedly going to come back if they made it to the Western Conference Final, is in fact not totally healthy yet. What are we now? 2-3 months since the end of the playoffs. So lots going on. We'll touch on Demko first and foremost. But before we do that, I'm worried about Demko. But buddy, I'm thinking about you too. How you doing, bro?
Dude, you should be thinking about me because it's 7:30 in the morning, and I'm not doing what Deepak Chopra told me to do, and that's listen to the clouds. Okay, have you ever listened to the clouds in the morning, first thing in the morning? Okay, I haven't started doing that. I'm still going on my phone at 7:15 in the morning, and the first thing I see is Thatcher Demko still not being 100%. Okay, Rick Dhaliwal talking a lot, saying what he's saying that the Canucks were actually concerned about this possibly being the case way back at the draft, that he wouldn't be 100%, that his rehab, quote unquote, wasn't going as well. And apparently the Canucks are still in the market for some competition in net because they don't know if Demko's going to be 100% right off the jump. Now, to preface a little bit, it didn't go listen to the interview that Rick Dhaliwal just had with the Halford and Bruff show. He didn't sound overly concerned, but man, oh man, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bound, Locked On Canucks at the Don't Doze Art Lab. We know the deal, man. We know the deal, okay? Where there's smoke, there's fire. And let's be real. Demko is a little brittle. You know what I'm saying? And the more and more we play this game with Demko, trying to get him back, and look what the Canucks did in the playoffs when he got hurt. It was like a constant rehab. It was a rehab with the team. It was a rehab on the ice. It was at practice. It was what? Yo, the more and more I think about this, it's like, yo, this guy should probably just take it easy for a longer period of time. For real. That's one option, right? Have this guy sit out for a bit longer. Maybe have him sit out the first 2 months of the season, which somebody just reported in our Discord, link in the bio. Somebody's telling us that he heard that Demko's going to miss the first 2 months of the season. Who is this guy? Join the Discord. Or B, Trevor, let's say it is a Demko Sheloff's thing straight up in October, right off the jump. A couple weeks ago, it was the 35 starts, or 30 starts for Sheloff's, 50 starts for Demko. How about 41 for each, straight up?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. If Thatcher Demko truly isn't ready to start the season, and let's, I think we're, as Canuck fans, we're emotional. We go into panic mode, but we still are a month and a half from the start of the season, right? Like, there's still quite a bit of runway here. But let's say he's not healthy and 100% to start the season. Don't play him. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe this forces the Canucks not to play Thatcher Demko out of the gate, and have a bit of a little bit of controversy, a little bit of drama to start the season, right? What have we talked about in the past? The Canucks need that good start, but sometimes it helps to have a reason to bond as a team early, and you saw that with the Canucks in the playoffs. They really rallied around Shelovs. They rallied around DeSmith for the 2 games he was in there too, right? So, again, man, I'm optimistic in August, man. Listen to the Podkolzin episode as well, but. I don't think this is necessarily the worst thing in the world, because what matters is a healthy Thatcher Demko in the playoffs. And sure, there's the glass half empty take. I know our former Locked On Canucks host Nick Bondi, one of our good buddies, has been telling for a long time that trade Demko. He's too injury prone. He's too brittle. And I kept saying, no. He's one of the best goalies in the world. Don't do that. But you look at his injury history now, and he had a hip replacement in college. He's had multiple knee injuries. He had one in 2019 with the Canucks, 2 last year, a major groin injury last year. He's had a concussion as well. This guy has had a lot of injuries, right? But when he's on the ice, he's one of the best goalies in the world. So to me, with Thatcher Demko at that cap hit, you just got to hope and pray that he recovers and makes it work, because he is from what we hear, one of the hardest working guys in terms of rehab. He's a bit of a nerd about his body, according to Rick Tocchet. So, yeah, lots of emotions here for me personally, but I think potentially Thatcher Demko not starting the season could be, in a way, a good thing for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, for one reason, right? Being that maybe you, again, make sure he's 100% healthy before he touches ice, which is a problem for Demko. Super competitive. Look what happened in the Winnipeg game when this all started last season. Casey DeSmith leaking the news right after the game that he came into at the second period, that Demko told him after the first period that, yo, by the way, you might have to come in here. Instead of Demko being like, yo, I'm hurt, I don't want to play anymore, he's like, I'm going to test this in an NHL game against the Winnipeg Jets. And by the way, it may still be hurting in like 5 minutes. You might come in the game, okay? You get what I'm saying here? Demko's a bit of a uber competitor when it comes to making sure he does whatever it takes to always be on the ice. And I think it could be a detriment to that guy. And Jim Rutherford talked about that. We talked about that like 40 days ago. Straight up, Demko works too hard. He wants it too bad. And now Trevor Beggs is saying this could be a blessing, right? Sit his ass down and get him ready for April. How about this, Trevor? Okay, how about this being a bit of a blessing to a Canucks team that's going to have a bit of pressure, a lot of expectation, but how about now this new layer possibly being of a little scrutiny, okay? Oh, can they do it without Demko to start the season, October and November, right? And maybe Shelovs is in net, and they rally around that, and they have a new rallying point, and it's again a climb for this team. You know what I'm saying? And maybe, just maybe, that bodes well for, again, a team that has a lot to prove. It takes the pressure off a little, right? Because now they have their $1 million backup and not their Vezina winning goaltender on their team.
Yeah, exactly. And look, it's not obviously an ideal scenario for the Canucks, but what did we see last year when DeSmith struggled a bit in the middle part of the season? The Canucks just rode Demko into the ground, and you can't do that. You got to trust your backup. You got to let him play some games, because, I know the days where goalies just play 70 games, like those are in the past. And I think some goalies probably have the mentality that they think they can do it. But, the history has shown otherwise, that, if you start playing 55, 60 games, you're probably going to run out of gas or run into some injury problems. And Thatcher Demko is a guy who absolutely fits in that category because he's been injured season after season, right? Mm-hmm. And look, I know I've said it before, every day is no. I'm probably one of the biggest Thatcher Demko believers out there. I've been talking about Demko for 10 years, man. I've been in love with this guy. But again, at the end of the day, it's you just can't overplay the guy. And I do wonder if, maybe they could just give Shelovs a bit more rope at the beginning of the season. Again, let Demko fully get back to 100%, ease him back into the lineup. Now, Kyle, I don't know if you want to touch on this now or on the other side, but do you think there's a chance the Canucks maybe add another goalie here? I mean, the depth chart right now is Thatcher Demko, Artur Shelovs, and you have Yuri Patera, who played a few NHL games with the Golden Knights last year, and then you have Nikita Tolopio, the big Belarusian. Do you think they add another goalie potentially here?
Well, I think Rick Dhaliwal talked about that being a possibility that they may be looking, because of again, their concerns with Thatcher Demko being 100%. And bro, to be honest, what if like the Podkolzin trade didn't have more to do with sabotaging the Oilers in their mindset and possibly persuading them to believe that Podkolzin could replace Holloway, thus making them a lesser team? But it had, again, more to do with saving money so they could, or getting rid of a contract so they could possibly give another contract out to a goaltender. Because here's the thing too, right? I love Shelovs. And you know what? We're going to see this in a couple weeks. Trevor's reporting that, not reporting, but he's saying that Latvia's got a Olympic qualifier coming up, and Shelovs is going to be a big part of that, right? I believe in this guy. I believe this guy's ice in his veins. I also believe in his talent, his skill set. I also believe he has to get a lot better. And he will with Ian Clark. But organizationally speaking, I don't think Alvin and Rutherford can afford to just bank on Patera and Shelovs being the backbone of this team. And maybe some more internal competition allows things to stick together, whether it be because you increase the talent pool or you motivate Shelovs to actually understand that it's not going to be a handout, okay? This NHL gig. Anyways, Trevor, let's talk about some of those names that they could bring in on the other side. Bonus episode of Locked On Canucks. Thatcher Demko, not 100%, okay? It's August 20th, a.k.a. it's November 17th, and Demko was not 100% yet. And, bro, I did not need this, man. I did not need this, man.
Yeah, well, hey, it's like I said, we're a month and a half from the season starting, so again, a bit of an odd report when you think about this guy coming back in the Western Conference Finals to not being healthy right now. But it's all good, Canucks Nation, because we either got Demko or we got one of these goalies I'm going to talk about on the other side. The latter is not so great, but we'll get into that after we show to our friends over at eBay Motors and Indeed. All right, whether you're an everyday or whether you're an occasional listener, you know the deal by now. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships, and that's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from for your ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home, those huge wins, baby. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only exclusive by eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers.
Wow.
All right, one more from me, buddy. And the end of summer, it's coming to a close. The summer is coming to a close. The Speedos, the bikinis are coming off. Whoa. They're at least going in the closet, man. So that means that more people are probably going to be looking for jobs. So whether you're looking for a job or whether you're an employer, make sure that you use Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data. And they have a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch that busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed, they don't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. And I love Indeed because they make fast things look, not fast. And that's powerful, man. Powerful stuff. They leverage over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day with their matching engine that constantly learns from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Listeners of the show, guess what? You'll get a $75 sponsored job credit. What? To get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, Locked On Canucks.
People, we back doing this at the Don't Those Art Lab, and that's talking about Thatcher Demko not being 100%, possibly not being with the team come October, and talking about more goaltenders putting the blue and green on or the black, red, and yellow on. I can't believe we're doing this, man. This is crazy, man. August 20th, the birth date of my sister, and I gotta instead of sending her a happy birthday text, I gotta do this. I got to put all my energy into this. Okay, for real. Thatcher Demko, the Vezina guy, right? Mr. Vezina, the X Factor. Oh, we're beating the Oilers if we have Demko in it. Bro, he may not even be there. But injury prone, I hate to say it, but I'm starting to get concerned about Thatcher Demko. Real talk. Now, Trevor's about to list off a bunch of names of other guys the Canucks could bring into, again, instill some competition, push Shelovs to make sure he's got it. And on that note, can we just start off with this? Because I feel as if it's the right thing to do. Bro, it's Shelovs or bust. Like, Shelovs played in the playoffs with this core, with this group, went to war with these guys. I'm not saying he's closer to the team than Demko. That's not the case. But I feel as if he's got the team's back, and the team has his back as well. You get what I'm saying? And there is a ceiling there. I know if you look at his stat line in the playoffs, it wasn't Conn Smythe-like, but there was a lot of extraordinary things happening time in and time out through spurts of that playoffs, and you could see the ceiling. And I just feel as if this team will rally around Shelovs and also believe that to some extent they have the same quality of goaltending when Shelovs is on his game.
Yeah, and I think, maybe not the same quality because that's, I think Demko is definitely in another category, but I think Shelov surpassed everyone's expectations, right? This is a guy who had what, 9, 10? I think he was 10 regular season starts before coming in for the Canucks in the playoffs. So, obviously the big flaw in this game was kind of like seeing shots through traffic, which is tough to do, right? It's the fastest game on the planet, the NHL. So, but Shelov was by far surpassed everyone's expectations, and he's still a young chap. I know he's 23 going on 43 with getting married at 18 and all that, but he proved in last year's playoffs that he's got the sauce, right? I talk a lot about one of the reasons I love Demko is that that calm, cool, collected demeanor, and Shelov's absolutely has that. I don't think a lot rattles this guy. And again, look, he's played on the international stage on a couple of occasions. He came up big in the playoffs last year. I mean, look, the guy had played a handful of NHL games, and all of a sudden he helps the Canucks go toe-to-toe against McDavid, Draisaitl, and the Oilers, takes them to Game 7. I mean, Shelov's absolutely has the sauce. And if Demko isn't in, Shelov's is going to be the guy. But again, goaltending is weird. And if it is Shelov's, I don't think anyone in Canucks Nation is comfortable with Shelov's and Patera if the doomsday scenario comes to life and Demko's not healthy to start the regular season. So, look, there's a couple of names out there on the free agent market, but the big one that's still out there, surprisingly, is Kevin Lankinen. The backup for the Nashville Predators, had a really good season last year in Nashville, great underlying metrics. Again, he's a guy that, could he come in on a maybe $1.5 million deal or something like that? I mean, Lankinen and Shelov's is actually not a bad tandem if Shelov's, plays his potential and doesn't take a step back. But again, he's the sexiest name out there. But if Demko's, maybe going to miss the first month of the season, does it make sense to bring in a guy like Lankinen? And do you think Lankinen would even take that opportunity necessarily?
I don't know if he would. Straight up. Because it's not a guarantee that he stays at the big club. It's not a guarantee that he can outduel Shelov's. You know what I'm saying? And then what happens after that? He goes, is there Carl's Jr. in Abbotsford? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, how much faith do you have in Patera? So, what's going on here? Why do we have to be so keen on getting another guy, Martin Jones, Lankinen, guy from Nashville, blah blah blah? Didn't we sign a backup? Didn't we sign a backup to the backup already? Didn't we get prepared for this? You know what I'm saying? I'm telling the truth. What's this Patera guy all about?
Yeah, so Patera last season, he had pretty middling numbers, but he played on an atrociously defensive team down with the Henderson Silver Knights. But his NHL numbers last season were great. Honestly, there's only one game I saw him play last year. It was against the Colorado Avalanche, and I thought he really held his own against one of the best teams in the NHL. I think it just happened to be watching one night when I was working out or something. But he played 6 games for the Vegas Golden Knights last year at an .893 save percentage. Nothing to write home about. But again, not bad numbers last season considering he was on a bad defensive team. Better numbers the season before, actually better AHL numbers than what Sheila has posted this year with the Henderson Silver Knights in 2022-23. So, I think there's some potential there in his game. From what I saw, he's definitely quick in terms of moving across the crease. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but average size for a goalie at 6'2". But again, am I comfortable with the Shelov's Patera? Maybe for a month you are, but that has some some Colin Delia vibes all over it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, why would if you're a goaltender that's dreaming to be at minimum a backup in the NHL, knowing that Demko and Shelov's is here? I know Demko may be hurt for a month. We're not talking about Demko missing the whole season, right? Why would you want to come to Vancouver? What's the rush, Maybe to get a little sample size and show that you got it. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's a bit of that. You're playing behind a good team, but that's a lot of moving around. That's a lot of uncertainty. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I'm a Lankinen guy, I'm just signing a PTO with some other team to just show them that I'm better than your backup. Sign me. Because if he's that good, then he's that good. Now, speaking of Nashville, I've seen this comment going around in our live chat a couple times. Askarov, right? Askarov asking for a trade out of Nashville. Apparently, he's the top goalie prospect in the NHL, and some people are like, "Oh, maybe the Canucks should go after him." That dynamic will not work in Vancouver. It won't. It won't. You can't bring Askarov in and then also get Demko, who already has Shelov's, just chomping at his neck, metaphorically speaking. You can't do all that. You can't do all that because Demko's rehabbing, Demko's getting better, and for what? Knowing that the team's going to let him go in any second in a couple years because the writing's on the wall. The writing's on the wall. Canucks fans, you guys got to realize that, man. For real, if Sheelovs plays good this season, Demko's got 2 years left as a Vancouver Canuck. All this health concern, it's real stuff, man. It really is. What does Bondi say? What's the two things that Bondi says? Okay, you want to get whacked? That's one of the things he says all the time in the group chat, always threatening us. And B is your best attribute or one of your best attributes as an athlete is to stay healthy. And again, if Sheelovs proves that he's a competent number one in a league where 1 year Bobrovsky's looking like he should be on waivers and then he wins a Stanley Cup, or Stuart Skinner's in the Stanley Cup finals, you get what I'm saying? If Sheelovs shows that he's worth it to whatever extent that is, we're seeing the last couple of years of Thatcher Demko as a Vancouver Canuck. And bringing a guy like Askarov in, or anyone that has like a bit of potential to be a number one, I feel as if it's just unnecessary drama. You don't want to spoil the room.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you're bringing a guy like Askarov, I wouldn't be shocked if it's Sheelovs going out the door the other way, right?
What?
Like the Sheelovs become the backup in Nashville, right? Like Askarov is the 11th overall pick. Like you said, it's him and Jesper Wallstedt. Those are the two best goalie prospects in the world right now.
And Sheelovs, buddy. Dude, come on. Sheelovs is up there, bro. You don't think Sheelovs is one of the best goalie prospects in hockey? I gotta believe he is, because I've watched sports for a long time. And again, struggled with the point shots. Got to get better at that. Struggles with the speed of the game at the NHL level. He got thrown into the fire. This guy was he was the fourth stringer at one point during the regular season. It felt like that. You know what I'm saying? Like in Abbotsford, he wasn't like that. It wasn't clarified that he was the number one guy in Abbotsford. Like next thing you know, he's the goaltender in a playoff series. And yeah, there was points where he struggled with point shots and whatnot and the timing. But man, there was also multiple points in the playoffs where he absolutely stole games for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
And I agree. That's better than potential or viewing a prospect. Like, can Askarov do that in the playoffs? Could Askarov do that against the Canucks? He had a chance. No, bro, I don't think so. But Sheelovs did.
Yeah, I think there's a little Canuck bias there. Look, I agree with you. Sheelovs is up there in terms of one of the best goalie prospects in hockey, and rightly so. But again, there's some recency bias there as well, because he was not great at Abbotsford last season. Like, he was kind of mediocre, right?
True.
So again, like he's probably in that list of like the top 15 to 20 prospect goalies. And I know Canuck fans don't want to hear that. We just think our guy's the best, and he could definitely be the best. But the two best goalie prospects in the NHL right now are hands down Jesper Wallstedt in Minnesota and Yaroslav Askarov with the Nashville Predators. So, I mean, Askarov's an interesting name if you want to trade, but like a first round pick isn't even getting it done. Like, is it like Sheelovs and like Lekaramaki? Like, it's going to take a massive package to get a guy like Askarov. So that's why I don't think it makes sense.
Dude, that's Askarov. Ask a lot, dude. Shut up, Nashville. Get out of here, man. We don't want Askarov, okay? I believe in Sheelovs. I actually think this guy's the truth. I think, coming from a background, Kyle Bowen here, Vancouver Canucks fan, coming from a background where, you just watch playoff hockey with the Canucks over the past 2 decades. I know over the last decade, we haven't seen a lot, blah, blah, blah. Very little have I seen goaltending performances like that. Yeah. Straight up. I take some of Sheelovs' best games and I'll compare him with Luongo's best games in the playoffs. I will. I don't mind doing that. There was moments in Sheelovs' performance this playoffs that looked very similar to Bubble Demko. Now, Sheelovs wasn't able to do it for like 3 straight games. He was really good at being good for like 2 or 1.5. But again, for a guy that just got thrown into the fire with very little practice and very little time with Ian Clark, just mad impressed with, again, the ceiling of that guy. All that being said, we got to get the hell out of here. Okay, this is a bonus episode, and I got places to go. We had one comment here. Again, he might be still he might be still watching live. It's Tay asking what's up with Demmer. Rick Dollywell reporting that still rehabbing. I guess that's the best way to put it. Not 100%. The guy that was like what? Almost playing game 7, gonna be an option for round 3 for the Vancouver Canucks. Apparently, he's still rehabbing. Apparently, he's not 100%. Apparently, the Canucks really wanted Casey DeSmith back because they were concerned. They're concerned about Demko's health, and it's still a concern for this organization. A couple weeks away from September, but I do want Trevor Becks to end it on this note. Again, like let's draw back to the top of the episode where we said that the Canucks could rally around this, use this as a lightning bolt, all that jazz, and just again touch base on what you said about Demko and this being a bit of a blessing in disguise because this allows him to possibly have more time to be ready for April. Anyways, my name's Kyle Bowen. I got to go. Beggsy, end on a positive note, okay?
Look, here's your positive note with Demko and Shilovs. I mean, we can talk about the injury. We can talk about trades. They're all fun to talk about. But Demko and Shilovs, when healthy, they are one of the best goaltending duos in the NHL. They're certainly the most cost-efficient goaltending duo in the NHL, but there's an argument that they might be the best goaltending duo in the NHL. The Allmark Swayman vibes are coming to Vancouver, baby. And they're coming to you and you and you. So shout out to you for listening, whether you're an everyday or an occasional listener, a first-time listener, a new subscriber, or you join us on the live show on YouTube. We love each and every one of you, your family, and your dogs too. Bob Luger wants to know, Kyle, where are you going in such a hurry? I think Kyle has to.
I'm going to the Hindu temple to pray.
There you go. Kyle's praying for Demko. Make sure you do your part as well. Go Canucks, go. Make sure you go subscribe, like, follow. It does help us out a lot. And we'll be back very soon, baby. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Cal Bound. And you've been listening to Locked on Canucks.
The Canucks will rally around this, man. I'm telling you, man. October, November, they got to face the odds. They got to defy the odds. This is going to alleviate some of the pressure. They're going to be fine. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks.